I watched my husband's jaw drop when she climbed the pole. Her thighs glistened under the purple lights, her back arched like she was offering a prayer to a sinful God, and her lips curled into a smile that made my knees tremble. I had only seen that kind of control on Sunday mornings, when she stood beside her husband at the pulpit, clapping in heels and praising Jesus. But that night, her collarbone was dusted with glitter. Her tongue touched the tip of her finger, and her eyes locked on mine like she knew me. That was the night I realized salvation might have curves. And I was ready to sin. Before I go deeper into this twisted story, let me thank all of you for being here. To my returning subscribers, you are the heart of this channel. And to all my new and amazing viewers, thank you for checking this out. I truly cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel that powers every wild, emotional, and untamed story I share here. And please, do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments right after this. I read everything. Now, let me introduce myself, and take you into my betrayal. My name is Rachel. I am a 33-year-old American woman from Salt Lake City, Utah. Married for 8 years. Blake, my husband, is a tall, logical, painfully predictable man who writes code and wears the same brand of shoes to every place, including weddings. We met in college. He is the type of man who never misses a dentist appointment, always clears his search history, and still kisses me on the forehead before sleep. Until that night in Vegas, I thought our biggest argument was about dog hair on the couch. But life has a way of pulling a string, and when you follow it, your entire world unravels. We had taken a trip to Vegas for our anniversary. Our therapist said we needed reconnection. Blake had booked a nice suite, made dinner reservations, and even suggested a strip club after a few cocktails. That was rare. I asked him twice if he was joking. He was not. He said it would spice things up. He said, just a dance or two, Ratch, something fun. I went because I was desperate. I wanted him to look at me like he used to. I wanted to feel wanted. Desired. Alive. We walked into a place called the Firehouse, all red lights and black velvet. A girl at the door gave us complimentary shots. The music shook my bones. Then I saw her. Melody. She had raven black hair and hips like temptation. She moved with grace that did not belong to a stage like this. Her hands traced down the silver pole with elegance, like she had trained in ballet but made peace with lust. At first, I did not recognize her. But then she turned, and I saw her face. I froze. Melody was the wife of Pastor Ethan, the new youth minister at our church. Just last Sunday, I had complimented her white dress and soft voice. She had smiled so humbly and said, "God bless you, sister." Now here she was, wearing nothing but a gold string and heels, riding the beat like it was holy. I leaned in toward Blake and whispered, "I know her." Blake was too mesmerized to respond. His mouth was slightly open, his eyes glued to her body. Melody danced closer to our section. Then, out of nowhere, she stepped off the stage and walked straight to us. She smiled, knowingly, and bent close to me. "Couples dance?" she asked. My stomach turned. Before I could speak, Blake said yes. Too fast. Too eager. I wanted to smack him right there. Melody led him by the tie to a private booth curtained in red silk. I sat at the edge of our seat, waiting, fuming, curious, hot. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. I told myself not to care. It was just a dance. But something about the way he smiled walking back made my skin crawl. I asked what happened. He just said, "She is talented." That night, back in our hotel room, Blake fell asleep after 2 minutes of lazy foreplay. I lay there wide awake, the scent of Melody's perfume still clinging to his shirt collar. But it was not just anger I felt. It was jealousy. Not of her dancing for Blake, but of how she made him feel. How she made me feel. I started searching for her online. I found her within minutes, an alias, of course, Lola Saint. A few videos. A few photos. Then a private profile. I sent a request. She accepted it within an hour. Then she sent me a message. Just 3 words. You looked hungry. I should have deleted it. I should have blocked her. But I did not. I replied. What makes you think I am not? That was the first time I cheated. Not physically. Not yet. But something had already crossed a line inside me. Desire is a strange thing. Sometimes it does not come from who you want, but from who makes you feel wanted. And Melody made me feel like a woman again. A dangerous one. The moment I hit send, I knew something in me had shifted. It was not just curiosity anymore. It was hunger. The kind that did not come from loneliness or boredom, but from that rare ache, the kind that blooms when you feel seen in a way your own husband has not seen you in years. Melody replied with a single address. No words. Just the location. It was not some cheap motel or a private club. It was a downtown yoga studio that rented private rooms at night for recovery sessions. She had booked one in her real name. Melody Grace. I showed up 30 minutes early. I sat in my car and stared at the building, my fingers trembling on the steering wheel, my chest pounding. I should have turned around. I should have deleted the message and gone back to my quiet, respectable life. But I kept thinking about her voice, the way she whispered, "You looked hungry." When she opened the door, she was barefoot and wearing an oversized hoodie. No makeup. No glitter. Just skin and silence. She smiled like she had been expecting me for years. "Hi, Rachel," she said. She knew my name. Of course she did. Inside, the lights were low. The room smelled like lavender and lemon balm. She handed me tea and sat across from me on a soft mat, legs crossed like a monk. "I guess I owe you an explanation," she said. But I told her no. I did not want reasons. I just wanted honesty. She leaned forward and began to speak. She had grown up in Kansas. Raised in a strict Pentecostal household. Married Ethan when she was 22 because he was the only man her father approved of. The church loved her. Polished. Quiet. Pure. But she was dying inside. She said stripping was not about sex. It was about freedom. "When I am on that stage," she said, "I am not Melody the pastor's wife. I am not anyone's salvation. I am just a woman in control of her own body." Her voice cracked on that last word. Body. I looked at mine. The one Blake barely touched anymore unless it was scheduled. The one I had started hiding beneath long sweaters and excuses. Melody reached out and touched my wrist. "I saw the way you looked at me," she whispered. "You did not look scared. You looked starved." I felt the heat rise in my face. She moved closer. I did not stop her. Her lips brushed mine gently. There was no rush. No performance. Just softness. And then I kissed her back. It was not loud. It was not wild. It was not what I had seen in movies. It was a slow unraveling. Every touch peeled away a layer of guilt I had worn like skin for years. Her hands knew where to go. Her mouth knew what to say. And I let her lead me down into something dark, something beautiful. Afterward, we lay side by side on the mat, staring at the ceiling like we had just walked out of a storm and survived. I asked her how long she had been doing this. She said over a year. Always in secret. Her husband never suspected a thing. The congregation adored her. The irony made us both laugh. I went home that night smelling like her. I scrubbed twice in the shower, but the scent of her skin clung to me like a curse. Blake was asleep. Again. Over the next few weeks, Melody and I met 3 more times. Always in private. Always careful. I told myself I was just exploring. Just finding pieces of myself. But deep down, I knew I was cheating. Not just on Blake. But on everything I used to believe in. Then Blake found the photo. It was a selfie. Stupid. Careless. Melody and I in a dimly lit room. Her head on my shoulder. My hand on her thigh. He did not say anything at first. He just placed my phone on the kitchen table and pointed at the screen. His eyes were calm. Too calm. That was scarier than screaming. I tried to lie. Said it was a prank. A dare. A one-time mistake. But he saw through me. "Is that the pastor's wife?" he asked. I nodded. He laughed. Just once. A sharp, bitter sound. Then he packed a bag and walked out the door. I sat there for hours, not crying. Just staring. What the hell had I done? I did not tell Melody. Not right away. I needed space. I needed to understand what I had lost. And what I had gained. 3 days later, I showed up at the church. Not for service. Not for repentance. I walked straight into the sanctuary and saw Pastor Ethan shaking hands and kissing babies. Melody stood beside him. Her hair was braided. Her smile was gentle. Her dress reached her ankles. I felt my stomach twist. She saw me, and for a moment, her mask slipped. Her smile faded. Her eyes widened. She took a step back. I turned and walked away. That night, she called. "I never meant for it to go that far," she said. But it had. We both knew it. Sin, once tasted, is never easily forgotten. And shame? Shame becomes a second skin. The voicemail Melody left that night was the last I heard her voice for a while. I saved it, though. I played it back more times than I should have. Her tone was soft. Apologetic. But what pierced me most was the end, when she whispered, "I think we broke something that cannot be fixed." She was right. We did not just destroy our marriages. We desecrated a world built on image, illusion, and Sunday smiles. And now, we were standing in the wreckage, alone. I had not spoken to Blake in 6 days. His toothbrush was gone. His laptop, his coffee mug, his smell, all of it had vanished. Only his wedding band remained, sitting cold in the middle of the bathroom sink like a final insult. I tried to call. He never picked up. I even called his best friend, Josh, but he only said, "Rachel, he is not ready to hear from you." And frankly, I did not blame him. When a woman cheats with another woman, it does something to a man's ego that no amount of therapy can undo. It confuses them. It emasculates them. And in Blake's case, it enraged him in silence. Then it happened. The explosion I did not see coming. It was a Sunday morning. I woke up late. Had not planned to go to church, but something told me to watch the live stream. My hands trembled as I pulled it up on my phone. The camera panned across the pulpit. Pastor Ethan stood tall, firm, and full of scripture. But Melody was not beside him. Instead, he cleared his throat and said, "Before today's message, I need to speak from the heart." I sat upright in bed. My pulse drummed in my ears. "I have been betrayed," he said. "By someone I trusted. Someone I loved. My wife." My stomach dropped. Whispers filled the sanctuary on the screen. People shifted in their seats, uncomfortable. "I will not expose names," he continued. "But some truths cannot remain buried. When a man finds his wife's photo on another woman's phone, when the church's first lady is found living a second life on the internet, he has no choice but to confess what others have tried to hide." That was when I knew he had seen the photo. I knew Blake had sent it to him. Ethan closed his Bible without even preaching that day. He said he would be taking a leave of absence. And as the choir tried to sing the pain away, I collapsed into the pillows, shaking. My phone lit up minutes later. Messages from people in the congregation. Women asking if I knew. A deacon's wife saying, "I am praying for her, and for you, too, Rachel." I felt exposed. Humiliated. And strangely, relieved. It was no longer a secret. There was no hiding anymore. The weight was gone. The shame, though? That clung to my ribs like smoke. That night, Melody showed up at my doorstep. No makeup. Her eyes swollen, her bottom lip trembling. "He told them," she said. I nodded. She stepped inside without asking. She looked around like it was the first time she really saw where I lived. The family photos on the walls. The kitchen still holding his favorite cereal. The folded laundry on the couch. We sat on the floor, our backs against the coffee table, knees pressed together. "I never meant to love you," she whispered. I did not answer. I could not. I had not even admitted it to myself. But the silence between us said it all. She laid her head on my shoulder, and I let her. We stayed like that for an hour. Then she said, "I am going to disappear for a while. My parents are taking me back to Wichita. I need to figure things out." I nodded again. When she left, she kissed my cheek. No lips. No fire. Just a goodbye. A real one. 2 days later, I received divorce papers in the mail. Blake had signed everything already. All that remained was my signature. He had written one line on a yellow sticky note tucked into the envelope. "You did not just betray me. You erased me." I sat at the table for over an hour, just staring at those words. And then I signed. I moved out of our house a week later. Rented a small one-bedroom apartment on the other side of the city. I got a job at a bookstore. Something quiet. Something forgettable. I stopped going to church. I stopped checking social media. And every night before bed, would lie in the dark and wonder. Was it worth it? Was the feeling of being seen, touched, devoured, worth losing everything I thought I needed? I still do not have the answer. Some days, I replay the first night I met Melody, her spinning under those neon lights like an angel dipped in sin. Other days, I replay the look on Blake's face when he saw that photo. The pain. The betrayal. The end. But the truth? The truth is, I would rather live in the ruins of something honest than in the comfort of a lie. Melody showed me that holiness does not always wear white. Sometimes it wears gold strings and dances for strangers. And me? I found pieces of myself in the most sinful places. I am not proud. But I am awake. And that, to me, feels like redemption.